This will be a day long remembered. Now I am the master.
Welcome to another episode of Legends and Theories.
And welcome to my comparison video between the original and new versions of the LEGO Lord of the Rings minifigures. And with this, I'm looking at, obviously, the two different versions of figures. And it's going to be a little annoying at some points because I had to fit them all on here. And some of them aren't perfect matches since they're wearing slightly different outfits or are from different films. But these are all the named characters that appeared, and this is basically every figure from the new Rivendell set besides the two nameless elves. And since I can't really use my normal 3D printed Lego brick, since I have to show two figures, I'll be showing it on this really quickly built together thing, which is two of these plates attached to this circle to hold it in. And we'll start off, honestly, I'll want to save the Fellowship for the end. So I'm going to push them back just a little bit. And instead I will be grabbing our elves and members of Thorn's company. And now to start off, we have our first comparison, which is Bilbo, which I decided to use his Shire version, and Bilbo in his retired version. And these are the two most similar ones, since they're him in kind of casual clothes, not his adventure journey. So these are honestly not the, perfect comparison since they are different outfits, but this is the closest, and with them, honestly, they're both nice figures. Bilbo, both of them have two head prints. The second head print is definitely better on this one. And looking at them, honestly, I would say that I would definitely think the newer one is better, although it's really not a comparison for this one. I'm not going to be counting these, but I'm probably going to at least try mentally keep score when I get to the ones that are of the same outfits. So I think that's 8 of them, which is basically everyone. And actually, it's 9 of them because Aragorn doesn't have the same outfit, but Elrond does. So these two, they look both pretty good, and I can go and place them back on. Next, we're going to take a look at Glowing, and both versions of Glowing, they have really good things. I think that the beard and hair look a little better on the older Glowing, but honestly, everything else with the younger version is just so much better. And well, the main reason that is because this is designed off of him fully being in the movies, not just a brief cameo. And this Glowing has 2 head prints, while the other one doesn't. And just a question, and I think these actually may be the same ones as Gimli. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm not going to be taking the beard off of Gimli to figure that out for now. I'll do that on my own to satisfy my interest. And yeah, honestly, I'd say the newer version is definitely better. Isn't better. It doesn't have as much and uses a reused torso. And it's basically 50-50 between the two right now, although I'm not going to be considering those ones fully. Arwen is another one where it's 2 similar figures, although not completely the same. And looking between them, both have some incredible printing on them and different and unique hair pieces. Popping them off just turns to the backside. Both have double head prints, and the dress prints look pretty good. And honestly, I think this is one totally up to preference. And I think that the dress printing on this one looks a lot better, but the head and hair look a lot better on this one. And honestly, I think these two figures are kind of like a tie, because I think that that they could really go either way, but I did put the wrong ones on the wrong characters, so that one goes on this one, and then the more curly one goes on this one. But yeah, I think honestly, it's basically a tie, and I think these two figures are probably equally the same, and it's both have good qualities and not really weaknesses. I would say it's like a weaker part with, I think, the hair and head on this one being a lot better, and the body in this one being a lot better. But I think if probably this one was moved over here, that's a little better. But I think just for capturing a little more of Arwen's look, if I had to pick one, I'd pick the blue dress version of her. But yeah, honestly, between those two, really close call, but could have been either way. And we'll be discussing the exact same thing with Elrond, and this one is even harder to decide because both figures look incredible in their own ways. This one has honestly like really, really nice printing, and the dress piece is really nice for it and just looks a lot better. But this one has so many other great features with the cape. I think the heads just look a little better. Both are really good heads, but this one is also really stuck on there. Like, that did not want to come off. So it's probably because of the cape and everything holding it down. It's a lot easier to, figure out which one. Not why I won't really mess up, but both look really good, and honestly, you really could give this to either of them. Both versions of Elrond, honestly, are amazing, and this one is totally up to personal preference, and this is the exact same thing with the Arwen figure, with this one having a lot better torso and arms and legs and everything, and also having I think the head print and hairpiece, although they're good, I think they're not as good as the other one. And I like this one a lot more with the crown going around it. And for that, and sort of the same reasons, I also really like the cape. I am going to give it to this one, but this one is honestly one where I could really be 50-50. And it's really just, I think, up to the person. Oh, I was also supposed to have, I think, one of those golden swords, but he doesn't need to hold it. So one of the things I just realized I forgot to put in his hand. And he doesn't have a sword in the other one, so I think both look good when comparing like that. And now to move on to the Fellowship. And I'm going to be keeping just a score, so for the ones that are actually the exact same outfits, or basically the exact same besides capes. And so far the older ones have one. Now let's take a look at this. I'm going to go kind of from the back forward. So I'll start with Boromir. And a few of these figures I have not looked at yet in reviews yet, but they'll be coming in reviews soon since I'm still currently on the Hobbit films. And here we have the two Boromirs. And looking between them, the printing is pretty similar. The swords and shields, I think that they definitely have an improvement to the new one once again. And even the head printing, I feel, is greatly improved. Kind of having that, well, the one somebody does somebody walk into Mordor look on one, and then both have this kind of like neutral expression. And the other one has a more angry face, but I clearly just have to go this one to the newer Boromir. It's just honestly one that just looks so much better with these updated pieces and printings, but both of them really have gone either way. Now it's currently 1-1, and let's take a look at our two Legolases, and between them, the torso printing is slightly different, and the hairpiece is just a little more accurate on the newer one. but the head print is not really a good one for him. Doesn't really fit him as well. And looking between the two, just for the head print alone, I have to give it to the older one, thinking that they're trying to, do something of the same figure, but this version, the older version of Legolas just looks a lot better because the head print just looks so much better and fits the character so much better. And I'm not going to be picking up any of those gold pieces that currently start falling off because they really easily fall off. Up next, we have our Gandalfs, and I have his custom staff on there, which I put on there, so I'm taking that off for now. Completely forgot I had that on there. Oh, and this piece is broken. Did not know that. Okay, and here are the Gandalfs. And the Gandalfs, honestly, they look both really good. Front and back head printing, although there is another Gandalf, which you can use for the hair print, and he has two sides for his face. And although there is one with a cape, I want to pull out of my Dull Gold Dwarf one. And looking at them compared... Oh, that's wrong. Well, I didn't want the hairpiece in that one. I wanted on this one. Oh, that is a nice look at what it would look like. And looking between them, honestly, I'm easily giving that to the new one. The new one clearly did so much better, and really, it's no real comparison here. I think the old Gandalf looks really good, and although the head is a little better on the older one, it's not as noticeable here because it's just the eyebrows that you can notice. And once you kind of could look past that, since it's really small to see, and that gives us to be 2-2 on this, and 2 points for each. And I'm not really even intending to put up the scores. I am not trying to fix them or anything. It's just how I'm going, and there's clearly going to be a winner here because there's 9 figures we're looking at, and you can't tie. With that, looking at our next one, we have Gimli, and moving our Gimlis over, I think it's really clear to see that both are going in a little bit unique ways and have some different prints. And with this Gimli being a little taller, which I didn't really mention with glowing, but the dwarves are taller, that helps on this one. And popping off the helmet, let's look at the back side. Oh, this one disappointingly doesn't have a back head print. Gimli, the other one, does have a back head print, which is a small bonus I give to that one. But this one also includes this hair piece, and that's a real bonus for him. And honestly, it's really easy for me to give it to the new one. The older one, although it looks really good, I think just doesn't really compare, especially with him having those new axes built for him, and those look really cool in his hands. Now, looking at the final ones of the bigger figures, the rest of these will be the Hobbits. I'm going to take a look at Aragorn, and this one does not count as a point since Aragorn is in different outfits. And both of them look really nice, although this is another thing with the ones where the head printing is a little better on the newer one this time. But I think the torso printing is better on the older one, but that's mainly because it's a more iconic look for him. And to look at the back sides of their head prints, also them using the exact same hair pieces, they're both pretty similar expressions, and honestly, I am going to give it to the, if I had to give a point, I'd give it to the newer one, but both are really nice figures, and it would be nice to combine together to have Aragorn on his adventure in adventure gear, and then that would really work. Going to our next one is Mary. And between the two of them, they honestly look really nice in comparison. And although the other one has a better accessory with being his sword, looking at this other Mary, I think, honestly, basically everything else is an improvement. And I don't know the exact hair colors, so it could be wrong, and you could just easily swap it around if you wanted on either side of figures, but I'd have to look at the pictures to figure out the hair color really. And the only thing I give the older Mary is definitely having better expressions for the head. Since the newer one's all only happy ones, and that one's a lot better for putting him in later scenes in it. But for something as good as Rivendell, I think that Mary head print really works. But if he does appear in other sets, he does need a more angry or screaming expression, because he goes through some pretty crazy stuff with that, especially if we have one with the Witch King. You know, I'd love to see him in his Rohan gear. Now moving to Pippin, we have one interesting change in the cape color. And besides that, we have the older and newer one. And honestly, it's pretty interesting to look at these two and comparing them and taking the pieces off. I honestly, looking at them, really think the older one looks honestly a lot better. I think even the scarf design did a little better job. And yeah, I'm going to pause this quickly because I do need to take just a breather, but it will be right back in no time at all. Okay, so now we are currently at 4 to 3 with the newer ones in the slight lead. But now it's time to take a look at the two hobbits that go into Mordor. We have Frodo and Sam. And Sam has the File Galadriel in this one, since he's from the scene where he would battle Shelob, although technically he should have Sting for that battle. It still works with this one. And on this side he has a smile, and the other more of a frown, and this one a smile and more scared. Looking between the two, they have slightly different torsos, with Sam having his little bag and the older one, and this Sam having a smile on that one. And honestly, between the two, well, I think both are really good. I do have to give it to the older Sam, which does give us to a perfect tie, and the one that'll break this tie is Frodo. And Frodo is the one who basically translated the most similar from the two themes, well, two different eras, and between these, Frodo has his newer and older attire. This one's from the Weathertop one, and this one is from Rivendell. And looking between the two, honestly, they both look really, really good. Frodo has a little more of a smile in this one, which is a little more rare for Frodo in the films, since he has the weight of the ring with him. Both have this really incredible, with a ring on face, with Frodo being a little more in pain here. And both have nice just back printings, but looking between the two, honestly, I think both are really good. And for all the Hobbit figures specifically, I love having the dual molded feet piece, but between them, honestly, I could go either way with them, but I think I would give it to the newer Frodo, because with it, I think that the printings overall just look better. And it's interesting with the Hobbits, I think half of them were better on the exact same outfits. Half of them were better in This one I have been on the older one, although the feet printing is the better part of each figure in the newer one. But I don't know. I kind of want to take a look at the just figures design overall, and if you put probably the two together from many of these, you can make an ultimate perfect figure. I am not going to be doing that because I want to keep them in their original state, but you could do that easily, and I think both of them have amazing figures and really do look amazing in comparison. But yeah, honestly, that's really what I think. I don't know what you think. How would you rank them, and in the comparisons, which one do you think was better of each pair? And as I said, I did not plan it to be, a close tie, but it was one of the things where I looked at the figures, and this was not scripted at all. I was just looking at them and making my decision in the moment. This is actually the first time I've ever looked at both figures side by side. Yeah, honestly, I really did like it. I want to know what you think. Please let me know in the comments, and I'll see you on the next episode of Legends and Theories.
Thank you for watching this episode of Legends and Theories. Please subscribe, like the video, share the video, leave a comment, check out the video on screen, and may the Force be with you.